Welcome in, belly up, have a seat, and grab a drink as we talk some Wingman fantasy football. Welcome on into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. This is episode 150, a 2025 wide receiver / tight end positional preview. And it is my great pleasure to welcome into the bar Mr. Bernie, aka Team B.
I'm Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
How are you doing today, Bernie?
I am doing A-okay today. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Are you excited about going over what a lot of people think is the most important position in our drafts?
The kicker? I had wide receiver tight end for today. I didn't know we were doing kicker.
Oh, fair enough. All right, guys. So in this show, we will get into some player news and notes. We'll break down that wide receiver / tight end position, including some of our new segments, including the ambiguously ranked duo, Old Faces, New Places, and Wingback Mountain. And at the end of today's show, we will also dive deep into a mailbag. But before we do any of that, let's make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingman Assemble! All right, now that everyone is here, let's get into some player news. All right, starting off with Bernie's favorite player here, we have Daniel Jones has been named the opening day starter for the Colts. Also, Joe Flacco has been named the opening day starter for the Browns, and a couple of high talented receivers here, Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown, are both nursing hamstring injuries. But there's indications that they should be ready for week one. Let's start here as we have some of your favorite quarterbacks and high-valued receivers. What do you have on Daniel Jones, Joe Flacco, Justin Jefferson, and A.J. Brown?
Oh, man. Outside of Justin Jefferson, this is like a geriatric ward going on over here. I guess maybe not AJ as much. He's like in between, but exciting. Exciting to see Daniel Jones starting. That's all I got to say. He is definitely a starter. I don't know if he's a finisher, but he's definitely a starter.
I think this move is most important for Jonathan Taylor.
For sure. Everybody on that offense is going to be following a script. And unless their offensive line breaks down horribly, the script will be a traditional football script with no ad lib from Mr. Daniel Jones. He's going to win this. Oh, wait. Who are they playing week one? Are they playing the Dolphins?
Oh, they are. That's right.
Oh, I don't know. I am now torn. This is a bad idea, Colts. You should not play Daniel Jones.
All right, our next players to talk about in the news here is Kenneth Walker. Texas Ranger has been in and out of practice all preseason, but he did return to a full practice this week as we approach week one. Malik Neighbors.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Has returned to practice after being sidelined with a shoulder injury and a chronic toe injury. We have Devon the Man Achane will be missing practice all this week as he's dealing with a calf injury. And Keenan Allen is back. He's returned to the Chargers, and after playing one season with the Bears. All right, let's stop right here. We have a couple of your favorite players again: Kenneth Walker, Malik Neighbors, Devon the Man Achane, and Keenan. Don't call me Fat Allen.
I know, man. So far, this is like a Mount Rushmore of Wingback Mountain here. Devon Achane, that's going to be a huge blow. They're dropping like flies over there in Miami. Keenan Allen, he's just going to retire. So after a year, hopefully he makes it through the year, he's going to retire as a Charger. Walker and Neighbors, I am worried, but I did not adjust my draft I didn't adjust Neighbors on my draft list. I'm not that worried.
All right. Moving along here, a couple receivers and running backs. Pardon me. We have Tyreek Hill has been sidelined for most of this week with an apparent oblique injury. Terry McLaurin, unless I missed something recently, is still holding out as he is awaiting a potential contract extension with the Commanders. And staying in Washington, we have Brian Robinson Jr. is now expected to be traded away from the Commanders in the next coming weeks, meaning that Chris Rodriguez Jr. is now expected to get a ton of work in the running back position along with Austin Eckler. What do you have on Tyreek Hill and these Washington Commanders?
Yeah, I mean, that's two wide receiver ones right there. Hopefully they start the season. That'd be the only worry I have. As far as the Commanders' running game, it looks like the offense for the Commanders is just in a little bit of disarray at the moment. So I might stay clear of that offense at the moment.
Another team whose running backs are in the injury ward here, the 49ers running backs. Oh my gosh, these guys are chronic. Every year they have many injuries in that backfield. Let's see, they're dealing with multiple injuries this year as both Patrick Taylor Jr. and Amir Abdullah have already been placed on season-ending IR. And Isaac Arendo, he has returned to practice, but he did miss a couple practices last week with a shoulder injury. And let's just finish up with another running back. Najee Harris has begun doing some team drills on the side field with trainers. He is currently on the NFI list, expected to be activated. I don't know what that means exactly, due to an eye injury from a fireworks accident. According to Harris's agent, he expects him to be ready by the start of the season, but there's conflicting reports that says he may not be ready for the opening week. What do you have on these running backs, the 49er running back room and Najee Harris?
Yeah, with the 49ers, who did they lose? They lost Mason, correct? With him gone, yeah, that's it's a little bit troubling seeing all this stuff going on here in their backfield. So again, I'd put them right above Washington because of who their coach is, but not too far above as far as being very weary of drafting them at this moment. Najee Harris, not even on my radar.
So in terms of the 49ers, of course, a lot of people have McCaffrey ranked high, and the only reason he wouldn't be 1, 2, or 3 is because of injury risks as he had a lost season last year, and that wasn't the only time. But this is starting to remind me of Josh Jacobs last year where all the backups were getting hurt, and you're like, if he's healthy, he's getting all the work. This might be a early riser in Christian McCaffrey, just a note that, to say as we move along here. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. But as long as he's 100%, man, you don't want to, if he's going to get all of these reps and he's not 100%, he might not make it through the season.
That's always a worry. Always a worry. All right, moving on here. We got Matthew Stafford has finally logged in some consecutive practices, but he will be held out in this preseason game this weekend. But there have been no official updates regarding his regular season availability. It's trending up, being that he was negative, ice cold a couple weeks ago. So we're not sure if he's going to be ready to play or not. But he is getting some practices in finally. We have Darren Waller is being activated. I had to change this news because I thought he was not going to play all year. He's going to do the Odell Beckham, but he's been activated. And I guess he's started practicing in the last day and a half or so. Don't expect him to get on the field in terms of preseason games, and I'm not really sure what his outlook is for the season. This is tough news here. We got Jalen McMillan, finished his rookie campaign very strong for the Bucs, is now going to start the 2025 season on the IR with a neck injury, and he may miss up to the first half of the season. And rookie wide receiver Tedero McMillan, affectionately known around here as King Tet.
Like an Egyptian.
King Tet has been missing practice this week with a hamstring injury, but there is no indication that he will miss any time. All right, what do you have on this? Stafford, Waller, McMillan, and McMillan, Jalen and Tedero.
So as far as Stafford goes, let him get his rest. He's an old man. But he is a warrior. Darren Waller's got to fill Johnny Smith's shoes. And I don't know if he can do that unless they change the role of how they're going to be playing this tight end. Darren Waller is easily dinged up. I'm not taking anything away from his toughness, just compared to Johnny Smith. Johnny Smith's running guys over. Darren Waller, I don't see him running guys over like that.
I totally see that as a potential, like I said, Odell Beckham thing. Just coming. I mean, you would think they'd have some discussions before they traded for someone who's retired, saying I want to play, but it's not. That's not moving well so far.
Yeah, yeah. And then obviously best wishes
right.
to McMillan's.
Yeah, yep. All right, let's get into the positional preview. We group our we call these the receiver preview here, as we call group our wide receivers and tight ends together as they are in one position in our league. You can use them as a wide receiver / tight end or a flex. No dedicated tight ends. Doesn't mean we don't use them. We use actually a lot more tight ends than you would think, because there's a lot of good ones out there since only the top 4 or 5 are drafted. So you have 6 through 15 are out there for any random pickup for a flex play. So I kind of like that flexibility there. Let's see. So just starting off here, when it comes to putting in tight ends mixed with wide receivers, how many tight ends make your top 40, and what's your highest ranked tight end in terms of it related to the wide receiver?
I'm sorry, buddy. My you were choppy there for a minute in the audio.
I can
Did you
re-ask
ask
real
me
quick.
how many tight ends? How many
Yeah.
tight ends make my top 40?
Exactly. How many tight ends make your top 40? And then how high is your highest rated tight end in relation to the wide receivers?
Gotcha. So I've got 4 tight ends in my top 40. They really got to turn the music down in this bar, by the way. I can't even hear you. You're sitting next to me. And my tight end 1 is the 15th overall pick out of the wide receiver tight ends.
We're very similar. My highest rated tight end settles in at 17. So we're very similar there. And I too have 4 in that top 45 or so. So that's very, very, we value the tight end in terms of a receiver position very similarly here. My next question is, so we'll just have a similar parameters here. You can break it down wherever you want, top 40 to 50 somewhere. How many tiers get you to whatever that number is, 40, 45, 50? What do you got there?
5 tiers gets me over there. I go 60 deep, 60 players deep with 5 tiers. So after that, you're really getting out of the flex and you're looking at, wide receivers for depth and mid-tier tight ends. So
are your tiers even in size for the most part? Is it 10 or more in each tier, or you have a lot of different sizes?
No. Tier 1 and tier 2 are smaller, and then they gradually get bigger as they go on.
Gotcha. So in that same range, I think I've got about 8 tiers to get me to about 45. I have a lot of smaller tiers, about 5 in each. On draft day for me, I like the ability to even on a small tier, then I might look over at that quarterback or another running back, or when it's later in the draft, kickers and defenses, and not be I like to know my tier is done, and then I decide if another position might be worthy of looking at before I go to the next tier. It's kind of a safe way for me to make sure not to forget about those other positions.
Yeah, that's a lot of paper shuffling right there. You just need to make a master list and then tier up that master list.
Well, I do that. I do a short list of about 60 picks, or I do mix them all together so I can just go check right off.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into some of these players. I'm going to let you do the honors. You tell us how you want to attack these players, where they fall in your rankings and or tiers. Who we going with first here? What group of players?
Well, always start at the top. All right. My tier 1 for me is picks 1 through 6, elite wide receivers. Number 1 is Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbors, and no disrespect, but Mr. Brown is at number 6. Amon-Ra.
All right, so that's a very solid group there. Like I said, my first tier is only 3 deep, so that takes up all of my first and most of my second. How far? If I might have missed the name, you do not have Nico Collins nor Malik Neighbors in that first tier.
No, Nico is down in tier 2. He's the next one up. So, unfortunately, I do not. I think that with these guys, like the top 3, are the cream of the crop there. And all of these receivers have the possibility of winning their triple crown. Chase almost did it. But I think that these are just these are it.
Got you. The next tier, my third tier, which is a little bit out of your first one here. We already discussed Colin's neighbors a bit. This group is very scary to me. These guys, I know they're good, and I don't trust them, at least to some degree. I've got the guy on top of my third tier is probably higher than most people have him ranked, but I got Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Brian Thomas Jr., and Drake London. A couple old guys, a couple of youngish guys here. What do you have on Hill, Evans, Thomas Jr., or London?
So Hill, Hill I have at the highest there. Or I'm sorry, Collins I have the highest there. He's at 7 overall. And Hill is 12. And did you say Drake London?
I have him at 12, yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's good. I have him at 10. I actually have him a little bit higher than Tyreek at the moment, and that's just because of the offense for Miami. But Nico Collins is sitting at the top of that tier for me. They're high end wide receiver ones. They're just not elite in my book. So I think we're pretty close. We're on the same page there as far as where they're landing in overall draft spots.
So we got Mike Evans here, who keeps.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have Mike Evans on that list?
I did. I'm at 10. I know I'm one of the old guys. I like the old guys.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but Mike Evans has not let down in his first 100 seasons he's played. So he's doing great. He's doing great.
I'll tell you why I moved him up this time. Obviously, he's been dropping down boards the last 3 years, and he keeps putting out the exact same output. He's so consistent. Yeah. Last year, he barely got his numbers as he missed some time, and that's always a worry for an older player here. But similar, like I said, with that Josh Jacobs and Christian McCaffrey this year, you've got McMillan. Jalen McMillan is going to miss first half of the year. You've got Chris Godwin's going to miss a first chunk of the year. When he's the only guy, and we'll talk about his rookie mate, a new rookie who's turning heads, but he is the elder statesman with no competition for targets, and that's what moved him up. Not so much what he's done and his age, it's that he's consistent with no competition, meaning I think he's going to stay where he's been, which is in that top 12-ish receiver.
Yeah, that's sound reasoning, I believe. But I've got players like Ladd McConkey and Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers ahead of him. So,
all right, we'll get into that next group there. We'll talk about that next group that you have.
All right, so my 7 through 15 is Nico Collins, Brian Thomas, AJ Brown, Drake London, T. Higgins, Tyreek Hill, Ladd McConkey, Devontae Adams, and Brock Bowers. So that's 7 through 15 for me. And if we get into the next one is my solid. I'm sorry, let's not gloss over Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers ends my tier 2 list at 15, and he's the first tight end for me off the board. If he can keep that ball rolling, that little first year, records and all that good stuff, he's just going to be a dominant player this year for Vegas. I think I'm high on Vegas this year. Okay,
all right. That's always a risky bet. But nonetheless, if you feel it, do it. Go for it. Yeah, exactly. Brock Bowers had a great season last year, and he did all that without getting in the end zone. Even if he loses some yards and or receptions, if he can get a couple more touchdowns, that'll balance out his output.
Exactly. Okay, so the next tier, 16 through 25 for me, is Jackson Smith and Jigba sits at the top there. Terry McLaurin, and obviously we heard the news about him. Garrett Wilson, which is a little bit low on my list as far as elite wide receivers, but he's playing for the Jets. Then Mike Evans, Marvin Harrison Jr., DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Trey McBride is the second tight end at 25.
I'm sorry, who's the second tight end?
Trey McBride.
Trey McBride. Okay, very good. Yeah, we have a lot of the same guys there. Just a couple people that I've hired that are out of that group, and a couple people that are way lower just because it's a fan favorite type of thing or not. So I got Garrett Wilson higher this year. I'm usually not a fan of his, but I think he's going to get all the work again. Another receiver who's by himself. That's what's kind of tiebreaker with these middle, wide receiver, late ones to middle threes. For me, it's like, are you the only guy in the field? Then that's a tiebreaker for me. There's someone here that's interesting. Oh no, we'll talk about him later here. But let's see. So I got George Kittle as my highest rated tight end, and I have him at 17. So
You have
again, with all their injuries
George.
and their
You have George Kittle above Trey McBride and Brock Bowers.
I do.
Wow, is that based on? I mean, George Kittle's great, but the offense for Arizona and the offense for Vegas. I mean, they're gonna get a lot more looks than George Kittle, I think.
So I had all the tight ends that are the top 4 here together, and then I just moved Kittle way up. Again, with the injuries to Juwan Jennings and Pearsall's in and out, and they're signing receivers off. They trade for Sky Moore to get some receiver help to the 49ers. They are desperate for receivers. And whenever whenever the 49ers have a full complement of receivers, there's always one or two who don't get anything. But when they're short, Kittle steps up. He gets big games when there's less people to throw to. And he, again, it's same with these other tiebreakers that I've discussed. He's the only guy right now, and he is going to be their number one target, I think. And I'm going to trust the San Francisco offense, a number one target for that offense, a little bit more than, middling offenses of like Vegas, for example. I'm not saying he's a better player one-on-one here, but what he can do and what they're going to need him to do, I think Kittle, I have less questions marks about Kittle this year with the competition in the receiver room than I would other years previous.
Yeah, Kittle is in my next tier, and he fell to the bottom of that tier. He's 38 on my list overall. But he's my third tight end off the list, but he's 38 overall.
Well, that's what's interesting about this when we shuffle in our tight ends with our receivers. People usually have the same, whether they're the same order, they have the same 4, 5, 8 tight ends, depending on how you want to group them. But it's where they slide in to those other receivers is where the big variance comes in. And that's kind of interesting because I got him ranked, in this case, 17th. You got him 38th. But my second tight end or third tight end is in the 30th. So like they're the same kind of idea. It just depends on which guy you're bumping up there. And I feel like Kittle you might be able to get him. Just because I have him 17 doesn't mean he's going to go 17. You know what I mean? Like these are guys that I move him up to make sure I get him. So when it's 24, he's on the top of my list with blinking red light saying, go ahead, get him.
Okay, so George Kittle is on the board, and then you've got Devontae Smith on the board. You've got Jameson Williams on the board. You've got Calvin Ridley on the board. You've got Jalen Waddle on the board. Are you picking any of those guys before George Kittle?
Not as I have it now. Not as that. They're all close together. They're all 10 places apart. But I feel the guys you mentioned are the boom bust guys. Jameson Williams has a lot of upside here, but I think Kittle's going to be like a steady every week starter this time around.
Gotcha. Rome Odunze as well.
I've got him. I like him, but I got him lower. You keep going. You're like, okay. It's hard to get all these names, and you can't get them all in the top 20.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could get one more in there if you got rid of George Kittle.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. I'm going to talk about this one group. You mentioned them here. Just you can tell me where you have them in numbers. I've got these grouped between 23 and 27. These are what I consider number 2 receivers for their team, except for one guy here that I'm looking at that are potentially very good. I mean, they're very good receivers in terms of fantasy. They're a little up and down, never know what you're going to get, but they have potential to be awesome. I just don't I like trusting guys with my first 3 picks. And these guys are going to make or break your season, probably make him, but it all depends on when you draft them. I got Jameson Williams, Xavier Worthy, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. You mentioned them. These are like the high-end number 2 receivers for their NFL team. Again, I got them 23 to 27. How high do you have these type of receivers, these high-end number 2 receivers?
So Rashi's up there in the 23 spot for me exactly. But the other ones that you mentioned, they're down into the 30s. Jalen Waddle's at 30. Jameson Williams is at 32.
Okay.
So Devonta Smith's at 29. So I've got people like Zay Flowers and Cortland Sutton ahead of them. I got Trey McBride ahead of them. I've got Calvin Ridley up there in 28. So
this is very interesting. We've got our guys we're not ranking these the same at all, which is fun and good. So it means I want to be drafted next to you. We will have no competition for our favorite players.
There you go. Now we have them close and they're grouped closely. There's just slight little shifts going on here. There's the 1 or 2 that are off, but the majority of them, like all those guys you named, they're in my group. They're just, 6 spots lower than what your group is. Gotcha. But they're also in my 4th tier. they're the bottom of my third tier and top of my fourth tier, which is a little bit different for you. That's probably your sixth or seventh tier.
All right. Is there another group of players you want to talk about before we get into some of our sub segments here? There's a lot of guys left. If there's someone you want to bring up.
Really the only ones, but I think we'll talk about them later. We can segue into this is Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs. They haven't been mentioned yet. They're in my flex wide receiver list after 40. Chris Olave is in that list. You know, there's some good people there, but I think it's nobody that you're circling that you have to have.
Yeah, that group you just mentioned, they're all in one small tier for me. So yeah, I guess we're not as far as we thought. We're just one group might have shifted up to move another group down, like you said, 6 or 7. But the groups are the same. It just one tier might be ahead of another, but they're still grouped together.
Yep.
All right. One more question here before we get to the sub segments. You said you had 4 tight ends, as do I. We've already mentioned Bowers, McBride, and Kittle. Who is your 4th tight end? Who made that there? Because I kind of moved one up here. We might not have the same, but I'm curious.
Oh, okay. My 4th tight end. Where did he go? There we go. Well, wait.
I can tell you
40.
mine if you want. Does Travis Kelce, did he make your top 4 in tight end?
He did not. Mr. Sam Laporta made my number 40 on my list.
They all the rankings that you have to start with something, and then I resort it. And Kelce was like 5 further down, and I'm just like, I can't put him behind these other, like Laporta's, for example. They both were just as bad last year together. So it's like, I'm gonna go with the guy who's done it 7 times as opposed to once. But I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. I decided to go with I guess as you can tell, I tend to give these older guys the benefit of the doubt and I trust track record more than unknown upside, I guess.
Exactly. And out of those top 4, number 5 for me is Hawkinson. He's 53. 54 is Travis Kelce. That's a tight end 6. And Njoku's 55. That's my tight end 7. Mark Andrews is my tight end 8. He's 56. So they're all grouped into this one little tier. And they're going ahead of Darnell Mooney, and they're going ahead of Keenan Allen. Like if it comes down to that's where I'm at in my board, they're definitely going ahead of those guys.
All right, guys. I think some of the other names we're going to talk about here. Well, before we do that, actually, I'm sorry. I kind of keep teasing and stopping here. Are there any rookies that catch your attention? And what are your favorite rookies in terms of wide receiver for this fantasy football season?
No, I'll be real honest with you. There aren't any rookies that I said, oh my gosh, double underline, circle, highlight. No, nobody stood out to me. Unlike, like the running backs. So
I've got, I think, 3 here that are in my top 45-ish. Tedero McMillan is number 1 for me. King Tet, he got the sound effects, and that gave him the tiebreaker there. I've also got, in terms of rookies,
where do you have him overall?
I've got him 31. I've got him 31.
Yeah. So we're close. I have him 35.
Okay. My next rookie, if I'm seeing this right here, is Travis Hunter at 38. I'm not too sure about him at the moment. With he's a little banged up, and there hasn't been huge buzz in terms of offense since the preseason games have started. There was huge buzz in the early camp, and it's been getting a lot quieter. I don't know for what reason. And then so I got Travis Hunter, and then Emeka Egbuka for the Buccaneers.
I have him at 63.
So he's
Mr. Egbuka.
I got him at 42. So I got him way up.
I've got him pretty far down there. And I'm not seeing Travis Hunter on my list, but that doesn't mean he's not there. I might have just overlooked him because I got so many papers.
And this is my first pass through today. I'll probably, again, Emeka Egbuka is getting great buzz in the Bucks camp, and similar to the Mike Evans in that their usual 2 and 3 receivers are not healthy. With him turning heads, he's gonna be the de facto number 2 receiver on that team. Just depends how quick he can get up to speed. He may be able to battle Evans as a number 1 later in the year, but it's going to take a little bit of time. So I think Evans is going to get off to the fine start, but Egbuka might end up being the best Buck receiver by the end of the season.
Oh, look at you. Is Evans going to be your new Julio? What?
I've had him several times. I've had him several times. All right, guys, it is now time to get into our sub-segment here. We're going to find out some players that are closely ranked together and they're on the same NFL team. It is time to get into the ambiguously ranked duos. The ambiguously ranked duo, the ambiguously ranked duo. On draft day, I don't know which one to take. These two players are comparably ranked. They're extremely close in an ambiguous way. They're ambiguously ranked. They're ambiguously ranked. The ambiguously ranked duo, the ambiguously ranked duo. Which of you two is the better receiver? Well, Gary is definitely the best catcher. What? Nothing! The ambiguously ranked duo. All right, guys. All right, now it's time for some ambiguously ranked duos. Oh, my screen is not working very good. Not good. I might need you to help lead this off here with who do you have for an ambiguously ranked duo?
So in my 23rd and 24th overall spot, they just happened to land this way, is the KC receiving core of Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. There's lots of stuff going on, though. Rice, faces significant uncertainty with a potential 2 to 4 game suspension looming, which I think is why he got dropped down so far as he did into 23 here. This creates that risk reward. Are you going to take that risk and hopefully it pays off? So that's kind of what I have right now. As far as the draft strategy goes for this, Rice, he's like the classic late round lottery ticket. And Worthy is the safer, but lower ceiling option in my opinion, but perfect for just consistency. So you don't have that boom bust worry that you might with Rice at this moment, where Worthy will give you that consistent point total at the end of the day.
All right, my screens are going haywire here. What was the other ambiguously ranked duo we had?
We had Mr. Juwan Jennings. I have him at 47 on my list, and Ricky Pearsall, I have him at 49 on my list.
Yeah, these guys I have back to back. Once again, I'm losing some information here. I have them in the same tier. I think they're even back to back. Jennings was awesome last year and fun to watch. Pearsall was dealing with his injuries, of course, so he didn't get a great start into this season. Let's see. And even this year, they're both coming in banged up, missing some time. So I'm not really sure who's going to end up being the better overall and who's even going to the hotter start here. Another reason why, like I said before, Kittle is rising up the board because just the uncertainty of the other receivers is giving me quite a bit of pause. I really don't know which way to go. I'm more of a fan of Juwan Jennings of this group, but I don't think I'm going to reach. I'm going to kind of wait which one goes, and if it's in line with where I am drafting, I'm going to take the second one pretty much right after that first one gets taken.
Yeah, if it came down to it, I'm not really looking at the name between the two. I'm just looking for a piece of San Francisco if it comes down to that level and I need to get someone. So I'm good either way.
Sorry, I just got my ranking. Gotcha. I just got my rankings backed up. Where'd you said you had Pearsall and Jennings?
Pearsall and Jennings, I had Jennings at 47 overall and Pearsall at 49 overall.
Look at us, 44 and 45. I guess we're closer than we thought. I was a little freaked out with some of those names earlier, but we're right on the same page there, I guess. Yeah,
there's just a couple of little nuanced players that are getting shifted, and of course, these names are going to get shifted in the next 2 weeks. So,
I've got one more. I'm going to talk about it here instead of in the other section here. I can't help myself. I got Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel as another. I know you have them farther apart, so I'm kind of bringing this one in. I have them ranked pretty close together. Deebo had a down year last year, an awful year last year. He was nominated for the draft day bust of the year award, so that's not good. But Samuel, whenever you kind of count him out, he always comes back with a surprisingly strong year, and then when you count on being one of your best, kind of lets you down. So being that you can get him out of value, I kind of like him as a potential target. And Terry McLaurin is still holding out. And last year, I remember a little bit. We had at least 3, maybe even 4 guys who held out last year. Do you remember what ended up? What your thoughts were about players who hold out and how you value every fantasy matchup throughout the year, not just the last ones.
Yeah, as far as just the personal view of them holding out, I think I had a mixed thing. There's probably some receipts out there though. I think these guys. I don't know. I think these agents need to really kind of get with the game here and figure this thing out. Where these holdouts, they're not ready to go. I mean, if they're elite talents like Justin Jefferson, then they're going to be fine. But if they're not getting these reps and it's week 2 and week 3, they're not viable playing, people until, 3 or 4 weeks later after they get banged up and we see if they get injured or not. So I don't like it, but I understand it. It's part of the business.
So last year, if I recall, the three main holdouts were CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, and Brandon Ayuk, with varying degrees of success throughout the year. All three of them, however, started off the year not well. Ayuk was awful the whole time, only had one good game in like week 6 or 7, then got hurt the next year, out for the year. CeeDee Lamb was just treading water until the latter quarter of the season. And then Jamar Chase, who finished as the number 1 receiver, was great, but he didn't get going until week 3 or 4. So just kind of showing like that elite guy will eventually catch up. But I remember you saying last year, like, I don't want to take these guys who might have a slow start, because that week 1 matchup, it's a win in your book that you're going to need. If you're going to finish the, your season 8-6, you don't care when that one win comes in. You might need it in that first week. And it's why put yourself at a disadvantage early in the season when those games count just as much in terms of your win-loss record.
Exactly. And then as the season goes on, obviously you're dealing with waiver wire, you're dealing with fab dollars, you're dealing with, all these other things. Get those early wins when you don't have to start churning your roster yet, and it's one of those things.
So that's why I had these guys close together. I assume Terry McLaurin was a regression candidate as it was. The holdout just puts another, little dent. I'm not saying it's going to end his season or career or anything, just another dent. And again, it's not that Debo is as good as Terry McLaurin maybe is, but again, it's another guy who's going to get more opportunity based on what his already skill level is, that bumped him up and put these guys close together for me.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
All right, guys. It is now time to take a look at some old faces in new places.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Welcome to the team. Who are you? Where am I? Get this man a helmet.
Old faces, new places.
I'll say hello, my darling, if we should meet again.
All right, now time to take a look at some of these old faces in new places. And we've got a ton of guys, none of the top tier guys this year. My highest rated old face is 16. I'm just going to read off some names here because there's a lot, and we can talk about who catches your attention the most. So some old faces, new places. Pittsburgh likes bringing in the old. They got DK Metcalf moving in from Seattle to join his geriatric teammate, Aaron Rodgers. DK Metcalf settles in with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Davante Adams is now moving back to LA to play for the Rams. Deebo Samuel we mentioned, so we're not going to talk about him here too much, but he is an old face in a new place, leaving San Francisco to join the Commanders. We also have George Pickens, the youngest of the old here, as he is going from the Steelers to the Dallas Cowboys. This one is the biggest wild card play for me. And then we have Stephon Diggs heading to New England off of his, I'll just let it alone. And then Cooper Kupp is going to Seattle. I think that's it for the old. Yeah, we'll stop there. What do you have on these old faces in new places?
Where to start, Michael? Where to start? Let's start with Davante Adams. How do you feel about Davante? Davante for me it's veteran reliability at this point. They've got proven track records. It's as long as they're in a decent offensive system, they're going to produce these veteran receivers. And I think Adams, he is. So I think he will produce. I'm just not wanting to take a chance on it. I have him up pretty high though. He's number 14 for me overall.
14. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Where did I
What do you
put
think
him? I
about
have him-
Devontae?
Well, I consider him a home wrecker. He goes to places where we have these young receivers who are up and coming, ready to break out here, and he stunts their growth. I'm saying this a little rhetorically here, or hyperbolically. He's kind of a selfish player. He wants to get his. He's not looking to help out the young guy there. I don't know, as a personality wise. I'm just saying the way it comes off as fantasy value here. So Puka Nacua is a stud. So I don't think he can slow down that train, but I don't like that there's someone who might be looking to do just that. I think that's why I think I'm not a big Garrett Wilson fan, but I think without the Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, old guys looking over his shoulder all the time, I think he has a chance to bounce back. So I have him rated as 21. I kind of have him rate to a place where I'll only get him out of value, but I'm more concerned about him hurting Puka Nacua. Other than that, he's a good player. He's still got some. He finished the season very strong with the Jets, so he's still got some in the tank. I just don't know how it's going to affect the overall team balance.
Right. Yeah, I can't argue with any of those things here. And so the next guy for me is Stephon Diggs, and again, it's veteran value, but it's really low on my list. Stephon is a 43 on my list overall, and that's going to be really, really low. Their normal ADP, even with their elite skill sets, and it's a value pick for me. If he's there and that's the appropriate spot to get him, I'll scoop him up. I'm not as high on New England's offense, but I have a sneaky suspicion they're going to be much better than last year because they sucked last year.
So I'm going to group these two old guys together. I have them ranked back to back. They have a pedigree of fine years. They're aging on new teams. We got Stephon Diggs and Cooper Kupp. In terms of Diggs, he's coming off that knee injury, and they weren't sure if he was going to even be ready to play by the start of the season, but he was not on the PUP list at all. He came in active right out of the gate. So whether he started playing too hard too early and didn't finish his rehab, that's for, I'm not a doctor to say that, but he started the training camp right away. So you think he's been working his way up, unless he started, taking the training wheels off too early, where he's going to have a detriment to his season. Again, another team that doesn't have any receivers. He's going to be the main receiver. I don't have him ranked high either, but it's like he might be a sneaky guy. You're like, I guess I'll play him. Hey, he's the best receiver on a team that's way better than I thought they were. He's a quick in and out of his break guy, generally speaking. Drake May, I don't know how long he likes to hold on the ball. He does run it, but that might be the guy he can see right away, right in front of him on short breaks. There's a chance there. I don't have much hope in terms of projections, but I could be convinced either way that he's going to be a solid play. How do you have these guys ranked head to head here, Diggs versus Cooper Kupp?
They're right next to each other. It's a toss-up. They are 42 and 43 overall between the wide receivers and tight ends, but they're my wide receiver 38 and 39. Kupp right above Diggs.
So which one of those players? Let's talk about this. If they're that close together, they're back to back for me too. I'm kind of talking this out. Does Stephon Diggs have any other competition in the wide receiver room? Am I forgetting somebody?
Was it just Myers? Is that it?
Jacoby Myers, he plays for the Raiders. Maybe Demario Douglas is the only one I can think of.
Yeah. No,
the reason I say that is Cooper. Yeah, I can't think of anyone that's worth even mentioning here unless I'm missing somebody, which is possible. Maybe they got a rookie. But Cooper Kupp is dealing with Jackson Smith and Jigba, who I think overperformed last year. I think he's only had a half of a good year out of 3 years. So he's got potential. Can he keep it going? I don't know. But that's not long enough for me to say he's the guy. But Cooper Kupp is definitely the number 2 on his team, while Stephon Diggs is the number 1. So I don't know how much that affects who you might take when the time comes. Which offense do you like better, Seattle with Sam Darnold or New England with Draco Mofo?
I'm not going to say New England. The coach is really the high for New England right now. Drake May did fine. So it's a toss-up. It really is a toss-up. And if it's a toss-up, I'd go with Seattle just because I don't like New England. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but Kyle Williams is the other New England
Okay.
wide receiver that he won't be competing with, or he will be, but
And he's a rookie, I'm assuming.
probably I don't have it indicated here, so.
Gotcha.
And
All
then
right, I'm going to
Hunter
mention
Henry.
a couple more.
Don't forget Hunter Henry.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Yep. Fair enough. I'm going to mention a couple other old guys here because they're not. When else are they going to be talked about here? We got DeAndre Hopkins bouncing from team to team to finish out his career. He's with Baltimore, in case you weren't aware. We have Keenan, don't call me, hey, Fat Allen. That was a mix of all of that together. Back with the Chargers, and Adam Thielen's not changing teams, but he was a huge fantasy playoff performer last year to end the season with Carolina. What do you have on these old guys? Hopkins, Thielen, Allen. Which one would you prefer to have on your team at any cost?
At any cost, too.
It would like out of value. Like, you don't have to reach for him. If it's the last pick, which one would you take? They're all available.
I would take Hopkins just to have a piece of that offense. But if I'm taking the offenses out of it, I'd want to have Thielen because Thielen would be the most consistent, and he's building a good rapport there, making Bryce feel comfortable. But is he not going to Minnesota?
I'm not that I'm aware of. Did I miss something?
Okay. No, just whispers and stuff. Just keep your ear to the ground. He might be thinking about there might be a trade talk with Minnesota or something.
Oh, okay. I was not aware of that.
Yeah, pull a Keenan Allen and go home to retire after this year.
Well, let's just finish on Keenan Allen here since you mentioned it here. So the Chargers started off the offseason by bringing back Mike Williams, trying to get some of those guys who left for a couple of years back into the fold. And he quickly decided, I'm sick of getting hurt, and he retired. So they went to their next guy. They brought in Keenan Allen back. So they're obviously trying to bring in some chemistry back with Justin Herbert here, as he did get a little bit of a groove with Ladd McConkey. But Quentin Johnson is up and down. They lost Josh Palmer. So they're going with the old guys here. Do you think Keenan Allen can get the chemistry right back, or you think he's aging? Does he have a chance? Because his last season with the Chargers, he was the 8th rated receiver in terms of fantasy points. So he was very good his last year, even aging then. Do you think Keenan Allen can step back into a productive role, not that high necessarily, but a productive role with the Chargers? Yeah.
So when was it Mike Williams when he was there? Early on, Keenan was elite. Mike was elite. And then as time goes on, what did you just use? You used it very good. So I would say he's going to be less than very good this year. I think that obviously the chemistry will still be there, but the athleticism might not be there.
So do you think he'll be as good, better, or worse than he was with Chicago last year?
Worse.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well, I shouldn't say worse is a tough word. Not any better. How about that? Not any better. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think the age might be the issue here, but I feel like in terms of chemistry, I think he's got to go up, but I don't know if he can physically take advantage of that chemistry bump he's going to get with Herbert.
Exactly. And I'd be interested to know if coach asked Herbert, what he thought, and he's like, no, bring him back. I want him back on the team.
I'm sure they did. All right, guys, it is time to get into another sub-segment of our breakdown here in terms of the receiver position. We are going to go and see who we can't quit. Who is on our Wingback Mountain?
Wingman Fantasy Football.
I wish I knew how to quit you. Why don't you?
Wingback Mountain.
All right, reminiscing with Julio Jones, my personal I can't quit, had him on my team almost every year of his career, and I can't find someone to fill that void. I feel empty inside when it comes to the receiver position here, Bernie. Who are some guys that you keep drafting over and over again that you can't quit?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I did have a lot of Rashi Rice for some time. It's not as potent in the wide receiver category as it is in some of the other categories. AJ Brown, I keep going back to that one for some reason, and I don't know why. Um, I think that's probably the one big one as of now is AJ Brown. Um, remind me, is there somebody else that I draft unknowingly because it's just a calling of the heart?
No, I actually went back to look at some of the draft boards to kind of see if anyone fell into place. And you and I have very similar.
Jameson Williams. I have had him a couple of
Okay.
years.
Are these guys? So these are guys who have been you've been visiting with at Wingback Mountain here. Is AJ Brown? You're finally going to quit him? He's kind of underperformed for you the last couple of years.
Yeah, but here's the problem. I'm gonna be the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. I'm gonna be towards the end, and he's just gonna be sitting there staring at me, going, "Hey, bud, let's just ride this wave again, man. You need a top tier wide receiver, and I'm still on the board, and I'm gonna have to do it, and I don't want to."
Well, I will tell you this: I had AJ Brown on my team his first 3 years in the league, and I had him rated as my number 2 receiver last year, and I couldn't get him because of the way the draft fell. I would get him every year if I could, but you keep taking him ahead of me. So I'm going to tell you this right now: if you don't draft him, he is going to be on my team.
More than likely, I will. I mean, I do have 8 wide receivers ahead of him, so I'm pretty sure with the 3 running backs that are definitely going to go early, there might be a quarterback that goes early. Who knows? I should be able to get somebody that's not called AJ Brown.
I'm hoping. I'm dying. I need my man back. I need him back. He's my new Julio. You keep taking him. All right.
Okay. All right. So how about you? Outside of AJ Brown, who we are splitting here, another trouble, man. There's lots of troubles going on this past couple episodes. Who have you had on your team multiple years, on and off, maybe drop in, picking back up, drop in, picking back up, kind of deal?
There's no one else who caught my attention going through the last 5 drafts. Like I said, I've been pushing the receiver position back late in the drafts, going running back heavy, so I kind of get random people and I noticed that you and I will take the same people back and forth. Like I think I drafted DeAndre Hopkins last year, you drafted the year before. There's a couple guys like that. I'm like, oh, I had him, and I went back to see if I had him the year before. Nope, you did. Like we're just trading guys. We like the same receivers, and we just trade them back and forth. So we can't really get a steady run of the same guy because you and I are obstacles to each other here.
There we go, man. We have the same taste in wide receivers, buddy.
Tall, dark, and handsome. I don't know because I don't know what to say.
Okay, moving on.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us here for the positional preview. Now it is time to get into the mailbag.
You've got mail. Wingman Fantasy Football.
Mailbag!
All right, guys. This one in the mailbag this one comes in from Reggie O. And it says here, hey, Wingmen, I am sick of not having proof of an unbiased process when it comes to the draft day order drawing. I demand a live stream of the draft drawing. Oh my gosh, you guys just keep putting work on me. You just want me to do more and more and more. Like I don't have enough time for you guys. But guess what? You're in luck. I'm going to do a live stream this Saturday at 5 p.m. and we are going to draw the draft order live so you guys can see it, minus whatever technical issues come with streaming. Hopefully not enough for you guys to say I'm being a fugazi here. So I'm going to have my 2 assistants join me on Saturday at 5 p.m. so we can live stream the draft drawing. What do you think about this? Is this more than necessary? Is it good to be transparent? What do you think about this?
Outside of the fact that I think that we should have had the draft drawn like 2 weeks ago when we had the majority of the league in the same room at the same time. Outside of that, I'm fine. I trust you. I've never not trusted you. I trust your assistants. I trust the process. I get really crappy drafting numbers for the past few years, but that's okay. The one time I did win this league, I think I had the first overall pick or the last overall pick. I can't remember. I was on the turn of one of them. So that was the only time I ever won. And if you can make that happen again, wink, wink, that would be great.
Just I take tips right here. Okay.
I'll give you some fab dollars.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right, guys. We've been kind of a little off here and telling you what's coming out this season because we're kind of building the plane as we're flying it here. Join us for our next show on coming out Monday morning, where we'll be doing a mock draft. We'll have the rankings from multiple other sites out there, and have them use those rankings to draft some teams mixed in with Bernie and myself. So keep your eyes open for that. Also, later next week, we will have our risers and fallers as we get into draft day season for the Labor Day draft day weekend. When it comes to the regular season, we'll be doing approximately 4 episodes a week, a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and that's Sunday morning quickie. So keep that in mind. We will be there many times for you. I feel like there's something else. Oh, we're going to have some... we're going to have the Wingman Jam. We're going to have some contests where you can win some prizes this time, or at least that's the plan. A little bit of a 3-week at a time. Whoever gets the most points in that 3 week will earn themselves into a one-on-one playoff after the next 3 weeks, and each winner will get a prize. Sounds a little confusing, I know. All right, guys, with that being said, I want to thank you all so very much for watching and or listening to us and watching the Wingman Fantasy Football, the League podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, and the iHeartRadio app, including the Audacy app as well. Please do me the favor and rate us on whatever platform you are using. 5 stars only, please. Also, if you like seeing these beautiful faces, go ahead and go to our YouTube channel at wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube. When you're over there, do me the favor, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment, and we'll get you in our next mailbag segment. Don't forget, we have our live stream of our draft drawing this Saturday at 5 p.m. Join us for that. With that being said, may your glasses be full, your mug stay frosty,
And your roster not have more than 2 tight ends at a time.
Nicholas. All right, we'll see you next time, guys.